So we are in a week after coming back from the Alberta trip, and we're probably going to leave again. While I was away, these arrived. I got new glasses, although I'm not sure that they sit on my face quite right. And I didn't really buy a whole lot of stuff. I have a giant pile of paper stuff that I'm going to go through and maybe scrapbook it or put it in my ephemera box, I guess. This was at the snail place. I didn't bring back any fossils, unfortunately. But I did get a bunch of these little postcards because I do have a mailing tier on Patreon and I like to send extra little things. And I gotta say, the postcard selection was not very good. The best place we went was definitely the Three Valley Gap place. But also, what is with the postcard situation? Because they look like they were made in the 70s or something, don't they? Which I think is kind of funny. I think it just adds more to the sort of time capsule haunted experience there. There's no internet, there's no reception really. It's all just anyway. I did get some rocks, and I got this stone that looks kind of like the landscape it came from, and I got a pink opal. It's not opalescent. I don't see this around in Vancouver very much, so I got those for that reason. These are postcards that I bought for myself. There's just a copy of this one. Drumheller had the worst selection. I just got it because it was, what do you call this? Reticulated or no. I don't remember the name for this. It's kind of pretty. I'm just disappointed that it's not very Drumhellery. This one's gorgeous. And this one's also really beautiful. I also went to a different city's, thrift store to get a bathing suit cover up, and they had some photo papers there that someone didn't want, and so I'm really excited to test those out using some vacation photos. I don't know. I got a bunch of them. I hope they work. If they don't, it's okay because it was secondhand, so who cares? So 120 sheets for $4. I think that's pretty good. I did not draw as much as I wanted to. I guess the things that I did do are pretty thorough. Not exactly little sketches, but I was hoping to maybe turn it into something at the end. However, we are going away again. Unexpectedly to the island, and so I will take that free time, make art, and digest what we went through. There was just so much going on every day. It's really hard to sit back and ruminate on it, to digest it, to chew on it for a bit, and actually take in what we saw. There's a lot of sirens happening right now. Welcome to the city. Anyway, last year when I went camping and I made that little zine with the cat, and turning it into something else, and that was a very rewarding experiment for me, and so I don't want to do exactly that, but I would like to create something with our travels and experience of new biomes, I guess. Like I mentioned, we went on a half-surprise camping trip on Vancouver Island on a picturesque and highly privileged little hill next to the crystal clear river with a small amount of plumbing and electricity, but no internet. These trips are a dreamy way to recharge, surrounded by nature. It's a little stripped down, but not quite roughing it. Okay, goodbye. And unlike the road trips where you're either touring or waiting in a car, all you have on the river is quiet time. And it's perfect for an art getaway. Almost. Every year we go camping, it lands right smack dab in the middle of a heat wave, and I don't function well when we have to sit outside in the 38-degree sunshine. I would do a couple of sketches in the morning, but would spend the long afternoons floating down the river on an inflatable tube instead. So I took with me a couple of Rafi Perez's ebooks. It did press me with questions that I felt I needed to consider, because I've been pretty spacey and lost for a little while, So instead of just processing our trip and drawing it and making a little project, I suddenly felt like I needed to take a moment and consider my reason for existing, like as an artist generally. But I thought about the first favorite trait about myself that I can think of: having an appreciation for smaller things, natural things. Just the way that the mundane details of some tiny flower can make our unfulfilling human shit seem so small, like on a cosmic scale, and it's practically free, and all the other animals seem to have this figured out better than we do. And I guess that's why like just going outside and following a bug around really helps me feel grounded when I'm feeling like there's just too much human pressure, or when I start catastrophizing about bad things that haven't even happened yet. When we're watching a deer chew grass in the yard and think like, how does this animal with such huge predators look so casual and free and less terrified of life than even the safest, most comfortable humans? And if I ever am able to bottle that, I think that that would be my value in the world as an artist. I don't know if I even can. I think one day I'll be able to make that make sense, but it will take some time, I think. Tired, Maggie? You melting clock? So I'm back from camping, and here are some snails that I was carving from a piece of wood. Hold on, let's put this somewhere less shiny. I wanted to have a little souvenir from the Banff spring and cave thing, but they didn't really have any snail merch, so I just decided to like carve some. I gave away 2. This one's my favorite. It was tricky because the stick was getting very small, so I couldn't make him very tall, but I accidentally made him lean, kind of like Kermit the Frog, and I just think he looks absolutely the cutest. So this might be the one that I keep. It'd be nice if I could have like a big one to go with the little one, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't have too many friends, so it might work out that way. I also got a bunch of artist trading cards in the mail while we were away. There's this one, and there's this one. Dragon. Very hard to see. Makes things like that happen where you can't identify anyone's art because you think that you have to have a recognizable signature to be legit and stuff like that. I love anything with text. I really like this one actually. This was really good. I didn't realize that it was like an eyeball hanging down. I didn't really have time to like actually look at this, because I'm just like, you know, you get home, you have a whole week's worth of mail, and I just didn't really want to look at anything. Oh, so I wanted to share an update on the printer, and it is so much better on photo paper. It finally gives you the hard work that I've been wanting this whole time. Clearly prints so much slower and more carefully than it does on cardstock or paper or whatever. Like it's not perfect. Like in the darks you can see graininess, but it mostly just looks like a grainy photo, right? So it doesn't really bother me, but like for the purpose of photos and for the purpose of just like really basic printing, like I don't want to print my own art prints, for example. I just want to do zines and covers and things like that. Cards maybe. The colors are a little off. The colors are a little bit more dull than in the original file, but they still look great. I was working on this zine and a commission kind of idea, and she sent me a little piece of art. Thank you so much, Christina. This must have been so much work. It's like a tube of beads. But yeah, when I hold it, like it's like kind of the weight and the feeling, it almost feels kind of like holding a snake, which is awesome. I don't handle nice things very well. I can't handle it. So bunch of things have happened. I'm working on the calendar and it's very slow, and I'm trying to work on this. And so I had a bunch of these little cats, and I wasn't really liking how it was turning out. And so I made different sizes of them because like the little ones, right, they make the float look bigger and more majestic, which I like. But I think what was happening is I just hated the background because it was like this really oppressive kind of dark forest going on back there, and the colors were really like bland. And so I mixed a little bit of gesso in with my watercolors to make it more like a dreamy anime background kind of gouache look. You know, more candy colored pastel flowers and more happy color trees in the background. And I like this so much better. I finished the snails that I was working on. I was invited to an artist tea party and we were sharing gifts, and so I got a gift from Margaret Bremer. It's this really pretty little house painting. And like the benefit of staying behind a little later at events is that they start giving out their decor and food and stuff. So they gave me this calancho, which made me kind of nervous because Milo used to be a plant-eating type of cat, and calanchos are toxic. So, but he's not here, and Maggie doesn't care. So I'm just going to see how this goes up here. What? I know you don't care. Finally ordered this. This is a device that lets you take debit and like tap cards and chip cards and stuff, which is really exciting because it doesn't happen very often, but there are times where someone can only use debit, and e-transfers is fine. It's just that when I'm out and about, I can't really check my email. So I just kind of have to trust that it's happening, and I'd rather just not have people just having to go through the motions of going to online banking and stuff like that. So I got this. I have no room left down here because I've been troubleshooting, trying to work out how to make these little booklet that I sort of made 2 years ago, and I forgot about it. So I decided to make little miniature half booklets. I'm trying to not use the word zine as much anymore because it has a very specific definition, and this is not it. I got an extra heavy printer paper for this, so this is kind of thick because I didn't like how I could see the images on the back side, and so these feel very like hefty, and I've sewn them by hand. I think the quality looks great. I think the printing actually looks totally fine. It's actually not that much better than the laser printer was when it was working, but you know, the laser printer wasn't working. I'm glad to be able to get back into it and have something new to take, you know? I love when they turn around like that. Okay, so I stayed up until midnight last night to try to make a booklet out of whatever I had. Because I realized going in that there's just so much that I would have liked to have drawn that I feel like I could have made an entire book, you know, not like a booklet. I don't want to have to print too many pages and make this really expensive to make. But yeah, I have like a supplies thing, and I'm going to do a little flip through at the end of this. It looks really cute, except that my printer is not aligned properly. The margins are off by about 2 millimeters, which is frustrating, and I don't think there's anything that I can do about it. And so I assumed that trimming it would be manageable, except it's kind of not when you get down to this part. So I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll have to just fold it. No, you see, because if I fold it that way, then it'll be wrong on the other side, wouldn't it? But I'll show you that in a second. I also sort of finished, this is a preliminary test printing of the calendar. I like to do this so that I know that all of the the months line up and stuff. So this is what the cover is going to look like. And everything is like bright colors because it's in CMYK. And all of the colors work on this printer. So they look very cool. And so I just kind of go through and I check things like I was missing a dotted line under here. And I just I made all of these headers this week to match the pictures that I was putting in. It was a lot of work. That's why I haven't been doing any like YouTube stuff pretty much because I've been working on commissions. I've been working on calendar. I've been working on this sketchbook project thing. And now that I'm sort of near the end of it, I feel like I can kind of go back to normal a little bit. Although I don't know what normal is going to look like. You know what I mean? This one I'm going to have done professionally. I just need to get a quote on a local place. I'd really like to stick to local because I can just easily pick them up. But of course now I don't know how many to order. So let's just take a guess. I have 2 outdoor shows. My first outdoor shows that I've ever done in my whole life. And we're going to be going into it really like amateur hour. And I'm excited about it. And so I want to have something very good, like a calendar, ready to go for that. Something new. So I'm going to do a flip through of that little zine that I made. And thanks for watching. Bye.